How's it going, lovebirds? This is episode 11 of the Good Relationships podcast. I'm your host, Derek Brown Jr., and today is the first day of the topic, red flags in dating relationships. I have a very special guest here with me today, Miss Maika. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I really appreciate you for being a guest on the podcast, and I know I've been trying to book you for a few weeks now, and you've been busy with school and everything, but I'm super excited about this topic, and
thanks for having me. I'm really excited to do this.
I know you got a bunch of stuff that you want to release on this one. This is going to be a very controversial topic, and as always, let's get into it. I'll start by asking you a question.
Okay.
So the topic is red flags in dating relationships. So when it comes to a guy asking you out on a date or you actually being on a date, could you give me and the audience some examples of some red flags, like some no-nos that you've come across?
I guess for me it's always being on your phone, because you don't know if the other person is talking to other girls while they're with you. So I've noticed that's a red flag if the person you're with is always on their phone constantly. I guess just talking about their exes or other girls when they're with you. I guess that's another big red flag that's happened to me.
Okay.
I know from experience.
Okay. So what happens if you see a guy on his phone or he, gives out a red flag? Is there a process you go through?
Not really. I guess I just try not to notice it as much, because I want to give all my attention to the other person rather than just focus on that. But I guess you never really know who they're talking to. But I guess just being on their phone or or checking out other girls too. That's another thing.
Oh, in person?
Yeah, they used to or they flirt with someone I guess if you're getting dinner, if they flirt with the waitress or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I've had that happen. Or if they're checking out other girls when they're with you.
And so do you just take everything in mind, and then you're I'm not gonna say anything right now. I'm just gonna kind of let them go easily and not really tell them what they did wrong.
Yeah.
So.
I usually just I don't want to say anything in the moment, but I might say something after, or there's just no second date.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
If they do that now, on the first date, you don't know what they're gonna do later.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you don't have a 3-strike rule or anything like that?
No. That's just me. I'm sure other people are different, but I know that's a big turnoff for me. Because if they ask you out, then you should at least have their full attention, because when I'm on a date, I'm hardly ever on my phone, because I want to focus on that person and get to know them.
Okay.
Because that determines whether you want to go out with them again.
Right.
I feel
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say the guy makes it through the first date. Are there more red flags that you look for after the dating scene? So you may not be on dinner. It may be something else. Is there anything outside of a restaurant setting or anything like that?
I guess communication too.
Okay.
I guess if you make plans with someone, and on that day that you make plans with, because I've had this happen to me, and they don't text you for a while, and you text them maybe an hour before you're supposed to meet, and they don't text you back still, and then maybe right before you're supposed to meet them, they're oh, hey, sorry, something came up, or oh, I totally forgot about it, maybe next time. That's another red flag, I feel communication.
I completely agree. Yeah,
because I've had that happen to me where we're supposed to hang out or get dinner or something, and the person totally ghosts you until after you're supposed to meet, or right before.
And do you give people like that second chances, or?
See, me, I think everyone deserves a second chance, and I always try I maybe give people too many chances. So I've been walked over. How do I say it? Walked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I probably give people too many chances because like I'm trying to I'm understanding like I get like things happen, like things come up, you forget to do things or like an emergency, so or you just forget. So I give too many chances because.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean I try to make time for people and like if I'm into you, if I like you, like I want to spend time with you, so like I'll try to, but yeah.
That makes sense. I mean. So if you get a guy who is, he's communicating with you effectively.
Yeah.
The first day. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
No, I'm just trying to think. But go ahead.
Well, so he gets through the first. Let's say we call it the first round. He gets through the first date. He's communicating effectively with you. What about that? Like past that stage, is there red flags in that area?
I guess like being secretive.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe if you see like girls popping up on his phone, because I've had that where like I've been with a guy and like guys have like friends that are girls, like that's fine with me, but like I don't know if you see like them kind of like texting like a lot of other girls, like you see like a lot of names popping up on their phone. That's another red flag that I've noticed, and it's like it just like that like thing goes off in your head.
Right.
And you're like, are they talking to other girls or like what's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
So if you see a guy and you see like these girls pop up on his phone, do you ever like confront him about it right then and there, or do you kind of just?
I kind of like wait. I don't like. I'm sure like I know like a lot of people like especially like social media, you like cyber stalk people. So like that's what I do before like I can like jump to any conclusions. I like go through social media. I'm sure you've done this.
Yeah,
Everyone
of course,
does it. Yeah.
Of course.
I try to do that first before actually confronting them because like I don't want there to be like a misunderstanding because like I try to like give people the benefit of the doubt, and so like I'll maybe like go through social media, see like what kind of relationship like they have with that person, and if I see that maybe they're like posting stuff about maybe like doing stuff, then I'll confront them about it. But I try not to do it right away because like I don't want to jump to conclusions.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So okay, what about physical red flags? What are some things that guys can do, like, and by physical I mean like he may try to like put his hands on you too soon,
I guess like
or
if they like try to push you to like come over, especially like booty call hours. I don't know, it's like that's after like 10.
Yeah,
I think
like those late night texts.
Yeah,
it's like,
they,
hey,
and like they try to get you to come over, like, hey, like let's hang out. Like they try to play it off as like coming over, like just hanging out, like watching like Netflix, and it turns into like Netflix and chill.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like just like having them like have you come over, and like you do go over, but they like push you to do something you're not like comfortable with. And it's just like, yeah.
So, what do you feel like is too fast and like a guy moving too fast on that part?
I guess like at least on the first day, like having they have you come over, and they just like try to get you to spend the night. Because I've had that happen, where they try to take you home, but like you don't want to because like you actually do want this like things to go with or go places with someone.
Right, because you actually want to get to know them.
Yeah, and they want you to come home with them right away. I feel like that's another red flag.
That makes sense.
Or they like, I guess like they're too nice to you, so they'll like butter you up and like try to get you to come home with them.
That's a
right
okay.
Away. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
You should talk more about that.
They're too nice to you.
What does that mean? Like
they
for
bring you flowers, like
Wow.
chocolates. Like they try to buy you stuff, but like they're only doing that just to basically get in your pants.
So how do you know though? How do you know the difference of like a guy just really being genuinely nice?
See, I don't know though, like, cause you don't know. I feel like in this generation, like you really like never know what someone's intentions are, because like someone could be just like really into you and they just want to get to know you, but they're also like really nice to you. But then you also have those guys, I guess, fuck boys, who just like do all that stuff because that's all they want is sex. So I guess just like you have to like take that chance and get to know someone.
That makes sense. I actually like the way you phrase that. The term "fuck boy" is kind of
yeah,
like
because like
going
that's
around.
I feel like that's what like a lot of guys are now these days. are just like fuckboys. I mean, I know like there's good guys out there. Like not everyone is a fuckboy, but like it's just hard to like determine now like is this like an actual like good like genuine guy or are you a fuckboy? And I feel like fuckboys like they know how to like get girls to like they know what girls like want, they know like what they need, so like they'll use that to their advantage. And I guess that's where like a lot of red flags come up.
Right.
Like the whole miscommunication, being too nice, stuff like that.
I like the way you said it, too nice, because
if they're too nice, you know they're like something's up. Like that's like the ultimate red flag. If they're too nice, you know they want something.
So what about a guy who's clueless about the stuff that they've never listened to the Good Relationships podcast, and they've never heard Maika tell them that being too nice is something that they shouldn't do.
I mean, being too nice isn't a bad thing. Like, you want people who are nice, but like, what I mean by like too nice is like they just use it to their advantage and they're not genuine about it. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. I think it makes sense. I just think that there's gonna be some guys who probably are like, well.
I mean, I guess like just like reading on like the internet, like people like you'll just read articles that tell you what to do to like with a girl, and I guess like if people take that, they might just like
figure it out.
Yeah, and they just try to like figure things out with that.
So could you give us like an example of a guy who does everything right? Like from start to finish.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I guess like he gives you like his like attention.
Okay.
And then but like at the end of the night he'll may like ask you like on another date, or you guys just like make plans to like hang out again. And then you guys just like text, like keep in communication. And then like on the day when you do make plans, like they actually like, hey, like are we still on for tonight? And just like reconfirming. And then just like I guess from there just like getting to know them.
That makes sense. And as you're getting to know like these guys who are genuinely nice, they're giving you attention, they're not buying you flowers and chocolate all the time. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, girls do like that. Like, I know I like that. But it's just, like, guys who, like, do it all for, like, the wrong reasons.
Right. And that's like, the key thing.
Yeah.
So, what's, like, and you don't have to say names or anything, what has been, like, your worst dating experience with, like, red flags? Like, you were sold on this guy definitely not being the right guy, and like, right off the bat.
Friends, like, are another good way
to meet,
like, to figure out, like, red flags.
Okay.
Because I know for my friends, like, I'll tell them, like, how something went, and they're like, wait a minute, that sounds like a red flag to me. And so I guess, like, having another person's opinion really helps, because, like, you could be so into someone that you don't see the red flags, like, you don't pick up on them.
Right.
And so telling, like, another person, like, how your date went, or, like, how that person is, like, other people can, like, pick them up for you. And so, like, they'll, like, tell you, like, hey, this is a red flag, maybe you shouldn't see this person anymore, or maybe you should talk to them about it. So, like, I know, like, my friends, like, they've always done that for me. But then sometimes you're, like, way too into the person to actually, like, you're like, no, like, they're not like that. I'm sure, like, there's a reason for that, so you, like, try, like, ignore those. But I know, like, having friends who, like, are there for you, like, always, like, listen to your friends, I guess.
That's really, really key knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys are really listening to that, but she basically just said, allow your friends to actually be in your business when it comes to you dating, like trying to find the right one, because they may be able to see what you can't see because you're on the inside and they're on the outside. So yeah. That's really key knowledge. I know that some people think that they shouldn't have their friends in their business
because they
at
don't
all.
want all that extra drama. They don't want other people to be in that relationship. But I mean, you just have to, like, find that balance, because sometimes it's good to have people, like, know your relationship, because they can pick out the red flags that you can't see. I know, like, that's been, like, a big, at least help in my, like, relationships. Like, my friends have always been there to tell me, like, hey, this is a red flag, maybe you should, like, talk to them about it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So have you ever, like, in the middle of a date, there's like a red flag that was just like too much for you to handle at the moment, and you had to just like stop it right there?
I don't think I've ever had that.
Okay.
Like during a date. But I know like outside of like just like communicating. I guess for me like the biggest thing has always been like communicating. Or just like trying to like find the time to like spend time with someone. But I've never actually had like a red flag like happen during the date.
Okay. And so like regardless date, outside the date, what's that thing that like has happened multiple times where a guy has done this and it just your reaction was, okay, no, we're done. Like that's the final strike.
I have to think on that one. I guess.
Like for example, you brought up like talking to other girls. I know that there's some guys that could be like talking to you like early on, and then they like see your friend and like instantly try to talk to them too.
Yeah.
And like I know for some girls they're like, okay, yeah, you just fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
I guess just being like repetitive. Like I guess for example, there was a guy who my roommate, you know, Alicia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Can I bring up names?
Yeah, you can bring up. You do whatever you want.
But he met up with her. They went to a park, and they walked around, got to know each other. But he basically had no personality, so she turned him down, obviously.
Right.
And then he later tried to talk to me, and I met up with him. He did the same thing, took me to the same park.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
The same exact.
The same exact thing, and he basically did the same things he did with her with me. So I guess just like that was the turn off, because I'm like, I just feel like you really have like no creativity, and I feel like if you do that with like me, like my roommate, you do that with other girls.
Yeah,
It's
probably
like the same thing.
setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I like to preach this a lot. Like it's so easy for you to set up a creative date.
Yeah, and like you'll see like, and I'm sure like you'll meet the other girls that they talk to, and they're like, do they do this with you? Do they do this? Because like they did that with me. So it's just like, how do I know you're not doing that with other girls?
It's a small town. It's
yeah,
small
and
world.
I know like I've met people who I've been with, like I know like their ex-girlfriend or like someone else that they've been with, because it's such like, because like everyone knows each other.
Right.
And, like you always like have at least someone in common with that person.
Right.
And it's, especially like going to like a school like at Ambrose. Like everyone knows each other, so like you'll see someone on campus.
Yeah, it's just a really small school.
Yeah, so
I
like,
went to a small school too, so I know what that's like.
Yeah, and I've seen people like I've met up with and on campus all the time. It's like it's always awkward.
Now I remember you sharing like some of that with me when we were like walking to campus. You showed me around the first time, and I was like, wow.
And that one person, you saw him. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, just bringing it back to what you were saying about being creative, I honestly don't think that it takes a lot. Like, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to plan a fun and creative date. Like,
no, but I mean, like, if you take like a few girls out to dinner, like that's fine. But at least like maybe change it up, different restaurant, not the same one.
Right.
And I'm sure like it would be awkward too if you took them to like the same place, because like the people that were there could be like, hey, like weren't you there with like another girl?
Right.
Didn't I see you another time? Which, at least like I guess just be creative.
Right. Like I bet we could sit here right now and give out like 10 solid ideas of like a good date.
Yeah.
Like I think we should do that for them. It's for the guys that have no creative aptitude. Me and Maika right now are going to give you 10 solid date ideas that you probably have never done before. And I'll go first.
Okay.
This is something I actually am going to do too.
Okay.
Plan a cook-off between you and the person that you're interested in. So get all of the like ingredients together, then figure out who the best cooker is, do like an entree, do like a dessert, and then like have somebody be the judge, and then you guys get to share a meal, you get to like share laughs, maybe get some wine in there, and yeah, that's a good idea right there.
I think or like even going off of like a cooking class. Like I think that'd be cool too.
Yeah, I agree. Cooking class or like salsa.
Yeah. Oh, that's another one, at least for me, is like go dancing. Like they have salsa nights at Funky Desi. Like that's a good way to like get to know someone. Plus, you get to see how they interact with other people, and like then that can like lead to more red flags. Yeah.
And I completely agree.
I guess another red flag is like to see like how they interact with other people.
And you can only do that if you bring them around like your groups of friends or like go out into public, which I think is solid because like I know some people, they're so afraid to have other people meet this person because they want to make sure they're perfect before introducing them. And then they're like so perfect behind the scenes, and then when they like meet their families and stuff, they're like completely different. Yeah. So do you think that it's important to do that stuff like early on?
I do. I always have like, before I bring someone home to meet my like family, I always have them meet my friends first, because your friends are like kind of like your second family. They're also like your family, and I guess like your friends can like pick up on like, again, like they can pick up on red flags into like on someone, like because that person could be too like perfect, and your friends are like, there has to be something going on with them, because they can't be that perfect, so okay, like friends can pick up like to see if that person's being fake, I guess.
And if your friends like really care about you, they'll like
they
let
will
you
tell
know.
you. At least my friends do, which I'm fortunate enough to have like those friends who can.
And I'm sure you've been there on the opposite end of that too.
Yeah, I tell my friends like, hey, like, are you sure that person is like supposed to be doing that? Yeah.
Okay. So, what's your like process then when it comes to letting a guy approach you? Like, what's your process when it comes to you like letting a guy get your number? You know, is it a certain attraction? Is it personality right off the bat? Is it the way they look? Is it just the type of guy?
Me personally, I don't have a type.
Okay.
I kind of just like whoever I like. But I guess like looks do matter. I mean, I'm sure some people like disagree with this, but like me personally, I think looks do matter, because I feel like if you're gonna get to know someone, you base it off their looks first. That's how you decide if you want to approach someone or not. And like I guess that's how I kind of go off of, like, if a guy is like attracted to me, like, yeah, I'd want him to come up to me, and then I guess like then it's personality. So I guess just like someone who's like themselves, like that's a big thing for me.
That
like
makes sense.
Someone who isn't just like afraid to be themselves. Like that's how a guy would be able to like get my number, if they're like genuine.
I bet there's a lot of guys like, okay, I'm researching Maika. She told me how to get her number.
I've actually had a guy do that. I've had him tell me, yes, I did like stalk you on Facebook and Instagram.
And was that a red flag?
No, I mean I did it too, but I just wasn't vocal about it. I wouldn't just tell them, hey, I like stalk you on social media. But honestly, like I kind of did appreciate that though, because that showed me that they were honest. Right. And I really do appreciate that in someone, because I feel like not a lot of people can be like honest nowadays.
And so honesty is kind of like you said, honesty, communication are very key.
And if they're secretive, they're constantly like, I guess just not like communicating with you, like those are red flags.
All right, that sounds like really good to me. I mean, on the next episode, we're gonna have a guy come in. I'm gonna ask him very similar questions, and of course, you'll have another opportunity to come back and share more of your opinion on red flags. Now, I do. Before we close this thing out, I want to ask your opinion on Tinder and using that as a dating tool.
I honestly, like, I do think Tinder is a good way to meet people, because I'm sure some people disagree with it. They'll be like, no, it's only for hookups, like people on there only want sex, and like I don't think that's true, because like my best friend, she met her boyfriend on there, and they've been dating for over a year, and he's a really good guy, because I've gotten to know him, and I know several like other of my friends, especially like my roommate, they've met their boyfriends on Tinder, and they've always been good guys, so I don't see anything wrong with like dating someone from Tinder. But yeah, it's a good way to meet people, and also running into them on campus. That's So I guess Tinder is, it's a good way to meet people.
Okay, so how would you say is the most effective way and responsible way to use Tinder as a woman?
I guess well, Tinder, right away, you can, like, tell who's only on there for sex, who's on there for a relationship. Because if the guy, like, he actually, like, takes the time to get to know you, like, he doesn't start off the conversation right away, hey, like let's fuck. Because there's guys who are like that on Tinder. They'll, like, just be, like, straight up, like, all I want is sex. So I guess, like, the best thing to do is, like, to ask the person, like, what are you on Tinder for? Mm-hmm. Just so, like, you know what they're on there for right away. Just so, like, there's no miscommunication, like, at the, like, in the end, where they're like, yeah, all I want is sex, when they actually did take the time to get to know you, only because they wanted to sleep with you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so, you know, right off the bat, based off of, like, what about, like, their bios or pictures or anything like that, like?
A lot of, like, shirtless pictures.
Okay.
I've noticed, like, the guys.
Is that, like, a turn off?
I mean, I don't think, like, shirtless pictures, they're nice to look at. I'm sure, like, other girls will agree, but, like, you can definitely tell, like, the guys who always, like, just show, like, shirtless pictures, or just, like, I've seen pictures where guys who are literally, like, are naked, and they just, like, cut out their dicks.
Right.
And, like, you can tell, basically, just from pictures, too, on who's only on there for sex.
Right.
Or some guys will even, like, post on their bio, only on here for, like, sex, or, like, not looking for anything serious.
And I'm sure that works.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure everything works.
And and I feel like it goes both ways. Like, some girls are only on there just for hookups, and just so, like, guys. So I guess, like, it can go either way.
And as a woman, what do you feel like is the irresponsible way to use Tinder in terms of dating?
I guess looking just for, like, just hooking up, I guess. I feel like that's, I feel like that's the easiest way to meet people. Or just for sex.
Right.
I guess,
okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you're like, if you're gonna use Tinder, make sure you figure out how you want to use it, and if you want to use it for dating, it's a great tool for meeting people.
Yeah, it is. Especially, like, if you've moved to a new area. It's a great way to meet people. But I feel like you also do have to be responsible with it.
Okay.
Because you do run into those people in public.
Right.
Yeah, and that's when it gets awkward.
So what about the people who, two things, the people who don't have Tinder, and they want to be in a relationship also, they want to start dating. So how do they go about that? Like, how do they get started in dating?
I guess, meeting people through friends.
Okay.
Because I've had some, like, relationships where I've met people through friends, because, like, you meet new people, or just even, like, getting involved with things. Like, if you go to school, like, get involved with, like, a club or, like, a sport, like, that's a great way to meet people. Or, like, you can meet someone in class. I guess just, like, it's just, like, the number one thing is, like, not being afraid to put yourself out there. Because if you don't, then you're not going to meet someone.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just, like, you just have to be, like, open to meeting people.
That makes sense.
Because you can meet people, like, you can meet someone anywhere, really.
And so that being said, do you think that it makes sense to just kind of go with the flow?
Yeah.
Just, like, keep yourself free, open-minded.
Just keep like things open. Just don't be afraid to, like, open up. That's, like, I guess, like, the number one thing for me.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to give to our listeners? Any last words? You want to plug your Instagram, Snapchat, anything like that? Do you feel like the people will stalk you?
I know. Do people usually give out their Instagram?
No.
No.
I guess I've never asked that, but...
No. I guess that's
it's up to you.
No. I guess I'm good, but that's it.
All right.
That's all I have.
Well, lovebirds, you heard it from Maika. That's some really good tips she gave you. I hope you guys kind of take that all in and kind of follow the rest of this series. We're going to have more guys. We're going to have more girls on here. And then eventually I'm going to have guys and girls on at the same time to have this discussion about red flags in dating relationships. So that's all we got for you today. And as always, Stay blessed, not stressed. Thanks, Micah.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here.